Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Full Force Combat. I'm Nathan here again with Dan, and we are so excited to be joined by Jonas Mågård. How are you feeling today?
Very well. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for joining us, mate.
Of course.
And just obviously, it's been an interesting few weeks for you in regards to Oktagon 59 and your fights there. Can you just sort of talk us through those last few weeks in regards to obviously you had the main event and now your fights changed and you're still on the card, but it has changed a bit.
Yeah, it's not just been the last few weeks. I must say it's been since the Jack fight that we've been trying to push for a new fight. We wanted Lima as fast as possible. We wanted him at the show at the last Birmingham show. I was told I could get him as a main event there, and then that didn't happen. Been put a bit on the bench, and then finally we got the fight we wanted. Not the time we wanted, but we got the fight. I wanted the revenge, and we were waiting and waiting, and we got this date, and I was very excited. And then, 2 weeks ago, isn't it? Yeah, around 2 weeks ago, I got the message that he was pulled out. So first off, I thought he got an injury or something like that. I just had a feeling that something will happen. But then I figured out that he was signed with the UFC, and it's fair play. So it's just one of them. So we were a little bit in a discussion what's going to happen afterwards.
Well, like you said, you've been put on the bench a little bit, but obviously it wasn't the original date that you wanted. You got your well-deserved title shot after, which is a well-documented, and everybody knows that the rivalry with Jack was great TV. It was through in everybody's face. It was promoted to a high level. It was great. It was a great fight. You come out on top. But the fact of the matter is, would have you been happy to fight number 2 ranked Farbod Nazad at Bratislava, or would you have been happy to sit on the bench a little bit more? And if they said to you that you'll still fight for the title, but maybe in Frankfurt in October in the stadium show?
Nah, we wanted the fight. The thing is, I think I deserved the title fight after Lima beat me last time. I went in there. I showed. The thing is, people maybe forget that I actually got hit with illegal knees, and I could have sitting it out and still be the champ. But I chose to fight, and earn my rights to be a champ. But if I've chosen to just sit out when he was doing those illegal knees, I would still be the champ. So just that gave me the right to have a immediately rematch, I think. But then they didn't really want to give you the immediately rematch, and I don't know what was going on. And then I took the Jack fight. They actually offered me Farbo, or whatever his name is. They offered me him before Jack, and I said, "Yeah, let's go." But unfortunately, or apparently, he was still signed with the PFL, so he couldn't fight. He was still under contract with them. So then we were waiting again and again, and then Jack came in. Perfect fight that I wanted to fight for a long time. A guy I've been having my eyes on, and I thought I might as well just take this little side mission, and then, take on Lima afterwards. But yeah, I wanted to fight Fabo as well when Lima pulled out. I even messaged him. I said to him, "Hey, let's fight," and he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I don't know.
You are game, and you proved that you fight anyone. But the rivalry with Jack didn't do you no harm. It didn't do.
Nah, it was a good one. It was a good one. It was fun. It was fun because it's the first time where I like to go a little bit hard on people, but it was the first time where somebody actually was giving me a bit back. Yeah. So that was nice to feel, but it was also fun to have these discussions and trash talking with actually a guy his first language is English. My first language is not English, but I still could keep on with him, So I really, and he's very fast with his words, and he's not a stupid guy. So I had to be on my toes as well, and that whole experience was fun as well. But the fight in itself was what matters, and I just knew I was better than him, and I just wanted to prove myself that I needed the title shot. But yeah, here we are. No title shot.
You are fighting still on that card. You're fighting Josh Hill. Do you know a lot about him? Is he someone you're particularly well versed on?
I've heard that he was going to get signed with the Oktagon. I've not looked much into him, but since they didn't wanted to give me Farbo, and they didn't want to give me a title shot, we were asking, what are we gonna just sit the contract out, or what is gonna happen? They actually offered me Senikitse as well, but for me, that fight would not make any sense because he just came from a big loss. He don't really have a name behind him. Maybe in Oktagon he has a bit of a name, but not, on paper. I feel like he's been running from Keita, a guy I really like, and I've been training with and stuff. And I just didn't want to give him that chance of pulling out, So I wanted the guy who was game, and I knew I was gonna fight, So that's why I wanted Farbo. He was number 2 ranked. When we couldn't get him, they offered me this guy, and I was like, this is a veteran in the sport. He's been around. He's fought like Bellator. He fought everywhere. He was even in the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
So for me, that was a good opportunity. And then we looked at his fight, and we were like, this is a perfect fight for me. Like, it was not. At one point, it was between not fighting again, maybe sit my contract out, and then we got this offer, and we were just like, yeah, sick fight, because his style is not too different from. It is different from Lima. I would just say he's an older, worse version of Lima. So it was not like I was gonna fight a totally different fighter than what I've been expecting and been training up for. So yeah, it's a fight that fits me very, very good.
And how important is that mentality of maybe you've not quite had it the way you wanted it to be for this fight, but you've still got to keep your mind, focused on your opponent and make sure you do get that victory come Octagon 59.
Yeah, but that was the most important thing. That's why I wanted to fight this guy, because it needs to tickle all the right places when you get a fight. And I feel this one did, like his style and stuff, and he's good at things that I've been struggling a bit with in the past. So for me, it gives me motivation to train and push myself hard. So it's just the perfect fight. Like, I don't. It's like a perfect match for me. He's very good. He's like a veteran in the sport. He has 22 and 6 fights or something like that. So he's been around.
Absolutely.
And it's a good fight for me to test myself with.
Absolutely. Have you been training in the UK recently, Jonas? Because I know you was at Top Team for quite a while, weren't you, with Princess?
Yeah. I've been at the start of this camp. I went to England and got. So what I like to do is I like to go to England and train there and work on the specifics I need to do for the fight, and then I like to take these things with me back home and work on it on myself and in the gym there. I've experienced that if I stay too long in England, I just burn out because it's a different schedule. It's not my normal bed, and it was different when I was like in my 20s, but I'm 32 now. I need my own space. I cannot sleep on somebody's couch. I need my own thing, or else I'm just burning out. So I went there in the start of this fight camp and got the things that I needed, and I thought we should use for this fight, and some different drills, and then I took it with me home and been working on these things and stuff. And I also have a very strong team. I live and train in Holland now, and we have like a very, very strong team. I have a very good coach over here who's phenomenal to break fights down. Like, it's like that's why I had so much confidence going into the Jack fight, because I felt all areas was covered, and the Jack fight was really the first fight where I had the coach from Holland here with me and doing these breaking down the game and stuff, and I just felt we were so fully covered because everything he came with, we were prepared for. Even when he went for that crazy submission on the ground, I just knew I had to slam myself out of it, because I had guys in the gym who would do funky stuff like that as well. So yeah, I have been in England this fight camp.
Well, like you said, you need a break. You need your own space now. You're on the wrong side of 30. Let's call it. Especially you need a break from all them lunatics at top team like Dennis
Yeah,
Frimpong.
I probably they need a break from me too, to be honest.
Yeah, it works both ways, don't it? Now,
Definitely.
I know you're training and living out in Holland now, but MMA in Denmark, is there any? I know you fought on one or two. Was it Gala? The show's called, and is there any promotions that we should be keeping an eye out for, and any fighters in particular?
The shows are. You have to think about Denmark. It's not a very big country, and it's definitely not very big when it comes to fighting. Even though we used to be Vikings, but they all went away, I think. So it's not like a fighting nations. We have some shows, but they're smaller shows. They sell out the arenas, but they keep it to the minimum. We have had some bigger shows coming in. We have had the Cage Warriors coming in. UFC was in Copenhagen, to be fair as well. We have some other ones, but it always seems like they just do 2 or 3 shows and then they burn the budget. Yeah. So right now, I don't know. I think a former UFC fighter called Mark O is he's a former Olympic wrestler. He's making a show now as well. So we have like 2 shows or something. But yeah.
So
I don't really have my feelings in the scene, what's moving around and stuff. Like I feel like the best guys in Denmark are already signed with the UFC, PFL, and stuff like that. But I don't really know about the upcoming fighters.
Is that something that appeals to you in a sense of like for your career, if you can be like an inspiration to get people into MMA in Denmark, or is that not something you think about too much?
I don't think about it too much now. Maybe I will think about it later on, but my focus is my journey. I'm not very focused on other people's journey. You know, I want to help people out, but that's more people in my gym and stuff. And if people reach out to me, yeah, I will give them advices and stuff. But it's not like I'm looking at myself as just like guidance to people. You know.
Yeah, and we speak about your journey. You started your pro career. You lost three of your first 4 fights, and that probably would be enough to put some people off, you know, doing it and this isn't for me. But you've changed. You completely turned it around. What do you attribute that to? That complete turnaround in your career?
Just being stubborn. Like, yeah, don't want to give up. Don't want to be that guy that he just quit it. You know, fuck it. Just and it was hard. It was very, very hard because from I started MMA, I moved. I only did MMA for 2 years and then I went professional. So I went professional too quick, but I also dedicated my whole life to MMA from very, very start. I had like 2 amateur fights and then I moved away from my family to go to Copenhagen. That's the central city of Denmark, to train full time. And so every time I would meet people, they would be like, "Oh, how is it going with the MMA? What's the record?" And when you lose like 3 fights in a row, it's like fucking hard, you know. You have that conversation every time. It's an icebreaker. So it's not just me being hard on myself, but it's also me being reminded like constantly, you know. But I wouldn't be without it because I felt it built my mental character a lot. And also the thing about MMA in Denmark is, especially the amateurs, the best always fight the best. And even when I started, people were not built up in their pro careers really, like because it was so hard to get fights. So I would travel and fight outside of Denmark. And you know, when you come from outside of Denmark, you don't sell tickets, so you're just there to get fucked up.
Yeah,
you know,
the away fighter, yeah.
Exactly. So we didn't really had like that build up like I see a lot of fighters are doing now. Their careers are getting built up and stuff like that, and that's very good. Even as amateurs, I feel like people are getting built up now. But I didn't have that. But on the other hand, it just built my mental strength because it was a very dark place to be, and I was young as well. I was like 21, 22, and I put everything into MMA, and then just feeling like a loser every day. It was horrible, you know. But it's just about believing yourself and being stubborn, to be honest. Because on the other hand, I've never been the most talented fighter, never. But probably the one who works the hardest.
Hard work and dedication.
Yeah, 100%, and stubbornness.
It's stubbornness. I like it, Jonas. I like it. Are you a football fan, Jonas? Have you been watching any of the Euros?
I definitely didn't watch it yesterday.
That's what I wanted to touch on. There were some shocking decisions with VAR, weren't there?
I know, but now I live in Holland, so I'm rooting for Holland now. When Denmark cannot, fucking hell, man, it was horrible.
Fucking well.
Horrible, that. But yeah,
Let's
it
not
was
touch
crazy.
on
They
that.
stopped the match and stuff.
Touch on that too much. Then let's not make it any worse for you than it already is. Right,
It's okay.
We'll finish it with a bit of fun. Now we do this with everybody now. If fighters were dog breeds. Now I've given you the list so you could think about your answers. We'll start with the first one at the top, your former rival, Jack Cartwright. If Jack was a dog, what breed would he be?
What is it called? It's the thing. I don't really know the name in English. I think these dogs they use for race. These skinny.
Yeah, like a greyhound.
Yeah, I think that's the one. That's the one for him.
Love it. Now, someone who to the next two of you know him very well. Both fight out the top team. Malachi Edwards.
He would be like one of these king puddles, I think. Very aggressive, but yeah.
I like that.
Look at them like, what?
Now, the fast rising UFC star, Lerone Murphy.
That's a hard one. Oh, fucking hell. I don't know. Maybe a K1, like sharp, like on. Yeah. A K1.
I like that answer. I like that. Now, you've already mentioned him earlier on. Octagon featherweight champion, Lasone Keita.
Keita, he's. I think he's he must be like a pit bull or something, like just massive,
Relentless.
just crazy, like explosive guy, like. Yeah, I think it's like a pit bull or something.
I like it. And we'll finish it with welterweight contender, Jon Serdou.
Jon Serdou. Who's that again? Is that the Romanian guy?
Yeah.
I think it just looks a little bit like what are they called? I don't know what they're called. But the one with the small ones with all the small like hair all over. I don't remember what they're called. He looks a little bit like he looks very hairy in his face, I think. I don't know why.
Brilliant. Nathan, anything you want to add, mate?
Nah. Just tune in for the fight, the 20th. Even though they put me on the prelims as well. That's another thing we didn't talk about.
Oh yeah, let's touch on that quickly. Yeah, because I think you deserve to be on the main card no matter what. You've got, like we said, you've gone from being promoted to a high level to now not getting your much deserved title opportunity, which you feel should have come around a lot sooner. And now you're on the prelims. Now, the only positive is that you can get your fight out of the way early. You don't have to wait till late, and you can suppose you can enjoy the rest of the card as well.
Yeah. Of course, because the waiting time for me is always the worst. But I still felt it was like a bit like a what? We have this like guy who has like 4 fights who's fighting after me. And I was like, what is this? Like it doesn't really make sense. But for me, I'm just there to do my job, focus on the target that is just Hill now. And just, it doesn't matter for me where or when it is, to be honest. But again, out of respect, I would have thought I would have been put up a bit higher for what I've put in promotion and everything for the company. But it just is what it is, isn't it? You cannot control it. And like you said, I can go in and win the fight, and then I can, for the first time in a long time, I can enjoy some more fights.
Absolutely.
The first fight I had for Oktagon was actually in Bratislava as well. And I think I was maybe also number 4 on the card back then. So it's a little bit like coming back.
Doing full circle, so to speak.
Yeah, staying humble.
Stay humble. Have you been told have you been told about another future fight date for the title shot? Or have you not heard anything yet?
No, the thing is, my contract runs out very soon as well. So this is like a thing about that as well, I think. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm just happy that I get offered some fights, because I know some of the English guys, they're struggling even more than me to get fights. And I think they've been put even longer on the bench than me. So I don't know if they're gonna make shows in England again, or if that's like they said, they're gonna die if they don't make it in England. But I've not heard they were gonna make other shows in England, and I hear that people are just getting allowed to fight on local shows and stuff like that now. So I don't really know what's happening.
We'll just have to wait and see. Nathan, anything you want to add, mate?
Nothing too much, Jonas. How can the fans follow your journey on socials? Where can they find you?
Find me on Instagram, Jonas Shark in one. And that's about it.
Love it. Right, we'll look forward to Bratislava on the 20th. It may not be the title shot, but it's still going to be an exciting fight.
It's gonna be a banger, I promise you that. It's also nice to go from training for 5 rounds to go down to 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Instead of going from 3 rounds to 5 rounds. So yeah.
Love it. Right. Thank you, Jonas, for your time today, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me on. Yeah.
Cheers,
take care.
brother.
Thank you.
Hey.